The Boston Celtics are very active in trade talks. We talked about that they're looking to move a guard, but we're hearing that they're looking to sign and trade Grant Williams. It was a foregone conclusion that Grant Williams was on the way out. But I think as NBA fans, we were wondering if he was just going to walk. But they're definitely determined not to let him walk uncompensated. Now, sources tell The Ringer that the Celtics are exploring ways to bolster their roster. Whether it's a sign and trade involving Grant Williams during free agency or something along the lines of consolidating their plethora of guards into a player. That's why I've said Malcolm Brogdon and Peyton Pritchard are the most likely players to get traded. But I do think it brings up a great point of, hey, Celtics are open for business. And Grant Williams is looking at $16 million a year at most. I think it's probably closer to 12 right now. And I think for us, when we look at a situation like this, I think it's definitely going to be interesting how they play it, because the Boston Celtics can only bring back half of what they trade. So if they include Brogdon and Grant Williams in a sign and trade for Grant Williams, then that could be about $31 million that they could bring back, or $30 million that they could potentially bring back in a sign and trade. And that's not a bad idea, in my opinion. What are your guys' thoughts? So with that being said, I definitely think it's interesting when we look at this situation on the whole, because $30 million can get you quite a few guys. I've heard, DeAndre Hunter being talked as a guy who could be traded. John Collins is a guy who could be traded in Atlanta. I mean, what if they do a sign and trade for Kyle Kuzma? Or I've heard other rumors where Nikola Vucevic is someone that they're interested in, and I wouldn't be entirely mad at that. I can see the pairing. That would work very well. Now, it's definitely interesting looking at who they are going to get, because as more and more time passes, I think Grant Williams and Malcolm Brogdon packaged together, $30 million. You don't have to bring back one guy. You can bring back multiple guys. I mean, you can look at the Toronto Raptors and see if OG Anunoby and Thad Young or Chris Boucher, the two of those guys or a combination of those guys, could be available. Or call up the Spurs and be like, hey, we'll take Doug McDermott, Kem Birch, Zach Collins, and Devontae Graham off your hands. I don't think they want Devontae Graham, but Kem Birch, Zach Collins, and Doug McDermott could be three guys that could help them. Maybe not entirely. I mean, Zach Collins would help defensively, but Doug McDermott would be the three-point shooting. He'd be better than Sam Hauser, even though Sam Hauser was good. Let me hear your thoughts down below.